Good morning, everyone. Okay, so today we're going over the BBR method. This one is much easier if you have a visual aid. So I'm going to do my best to explain what it is. As I mentioned, the PDF is in your in the group in Trainerize. You can just click on the links there, and there's a bunch of them, how to train around your cycle and stuff as well. There are some updates that I'm going to make to this one though. So just so that you know, I'll fix it and then I'll change it out. So basically, I developed this with my brother back when we had Pegasus, probably about 4 years ago. Since then, I've rebranded it and changed it up a bit to suit my training. So the idea being that there are 4 bands, right? So think of them as belts. You know, in martial arts, you start as a white belt, then as you move through, you get a new belt color as you become more proficient, as you learn more and more skilled. So essentially that's what this is. So this is a guide to help you understand where you currently are in relation to your goals. So to give you that clear pathway on how to actually reach your goals, so that you can sort of see if maybe your goals are a little bit too low for yourself or if they're way too high. And that's not to say they're unachievable, but to say, okay, well, this is what we should be focusing on now in order to build the foundation so that we can reach the goals that we want to. So this first page here is our self-assessment page. So you'll start at the bottom on the white section there and have a look through those questions. So the white belt is essentially your basic health habits. These need to be established really before you go on looking for say you want to get a press to handstand or a strict ring muscle up or a 2 times body weight back squat. If you're not hitting your basics, so like exercise is a habit, you manage your stress well, you eat well, you drink your water and you get your sleep, like super basic like that, then you're probably going to set yourself up for injury or failure or just disappointment. So this is a really good way of just sort of understanding. So if you're not yet there, then we move across, and then the next slide I'll show you is like a pyramid. So these are designed to be printed out and sort of placed alongside each other. So say that, yes, you've got all of the white belt stuff nailed, you're good with that. We move up to blue belt. So we look at this, can you touch your toes? Can you squat and deadlift without pain? And then the rest of the questions there. If that's a yes, then we move up to purple belt. So basically you'll find from this first page on the self-assessment whereabouts you are, and you'll probably find that you're going to be between levels. You might have some that are purple, some that are blue, or some that are brown and some that are blue. We're going to work to the lowest level, obviously. So the next page, we've got, here we go, our next 2 pages. So this is the pyramid that I was talking about. So at the bottom here, we've got, this is basically where you should be focusing your attention. So if you're at the white belt stage, we want to be creating that base of the pyramid there so that we can develop on top of it. So much like a pyramid, you want to have a solid base for support and a foundation so that we can then build onto that. So here we've got, if you're white belt, you're going to be focusing just on your health, your wellness, and creating habits. So it's going to be those basic foundations. So developing the habit of attending the gym, improving your sleep and water intake, understanding what a healthy meal looks like, because to some people that might be second nature, to others they don't know. And if you don't understand what a healthy meal looks like, then we need to make sure that you can, so that it's not a stressful thing for you to do eating. It's just, it becomes a little more natural for you. And you begin to understand what healthy food looks like. And then you can also begin to work on that balanced sort of lifestyle and approach, which I obviously love. And then moving up, obviously we've got the blue belt there. So now we're going to be looking on to injury management, because a lot of people in the world have injuries through either moving too much or not moving enough. So we're going to be looking at those, beginning to understand calorie balance and protein requirements and why it's important, learning the correct movement patterns on the main lifts, and just how to use your body and how to move your body. And learning about the importance of breath. Excuse me, just take a sip of my coffee. So that's the blue belt. The pyramid is starting to get a little more narrow now. So now we're going up to purple belt. And this is where we have our strength and mobility development. So when we now have a full understanding of calorie balance for your desired goals. So if you want to put on weight, lose weight, maintain weight, you have a general understanding of how you go about doing that. We also are beginning to see some evidence of strength development. So you're starting to get stronger. There's more weight on the bar in the gym, or if handstands are a goal, you're able to hold yourself on the wall for a little longer. There's been improvements in your mobility and flexibility, and training is now a priority. It's not so much that, and I know I was like this when I began, I was like, oh, I really don't want to train today. Whereas now, and for the last few years, my mindset has been more about when I'm going to train. And I look forward to it now, whereas I promise you, I never used to look forward to it. So if you're currently in that position, it does get better. You just have to persevere. Now I'm sort of on the other side, which is equally as bad, where sometimes I have to remind myself it's to not train and that I am in need of recovery, which that's coming in as well. So after we have nailed all the purple belt, then you go up to the brown belt, which is the tip of the pyramid here. And I will be adding a final black belt band to this as well, which will be just like, God tier. So in our advanced training and athletic performance, so that's where we have an understanding of advanced strength and mobility training principles. Oh my God, I can speak. You're able to teach or mentor others now. So your knowledge is at a point where you understand things at a deeper level. You can not, obviously, we can all learn more, but you can now sort of share your knowledge. You have some advanced mobility achieved, and now skill acquisition is a priority. So, we might be chasing those really skillful movements. Say you like the still rings, or you like one-arm handstands, or press to handstands, planches, some more calisthenics-based moves. So this is where we're strong, we're mobile. It's like, cool, now let's learn some cool shit to do with our bodies, basically. Now just move my head out of the way here. So moving across to the third page, there's 4 pages in total. We've got the action plan. So this is where I sort of have tried to make it simple for you. So say we're a white belt, you come across here. Okay, so we've got here, primary goals are to establish habits and routine. We want to achieve the white belt strength and mobility standards, which is on the final page here. We want to be training 2 to 3 days per week, as well as walking 10 to 30 minutes 4 or 5 days a week. So you can see that we're just sort of slowly starting to introduce that daily movement, those daily walks. 2 to 3 days per week when you begin is enough. You'll probably find you're very sore when you first start, so that's plenty. So it's not, you don't want to go from 0 and be like, okay, I'm going to start training every day of the week. You'd just be so sore and miserable. And then I've got here some recommended programs, which I'm going to add to this because I have more programs available now. But you'd be looking at just basically your beginner mobility or beginner strength and mobility if you're interested in getting stuck into your strength as well. So basically all of the bands then go up based on your current level, and I'll let you guys have a closer look at it. That way you can sort of, because there's a lot to go through here. There are a few things that I want to change and add in, like on the brown belt here. How often should you train? I've got autonomously controlled to ensure continued progress. I want to add in there and recovery. So you should then be at a point where you understand if you're going to get a benefit from training that day or resting that day. And that lesson is hard. It takes practice, basically. You can't cheat that lesson. And it's important. It's so important. And you'll probably find that you still get it wrong a lot of the time. I know that sometimes I get it wrong. I sort of think I'm okay and I should train, and then I train too hard, and then the next day I'm just fried, or I didn't eat enough to support my training. So there's definitely a learning curve there, and one that only you can teach yourself as well. So like I said, there's a few little just nuances that I want to add in and change there to make it a little more comprehensive for you. And then moving on to our strength and mobility milestones. So you can see here, starting at the bottom, with the white belt, we've got the strength goals on the left there and the mobility goals on the right. So essentially, oh God, I changed the slide, hang on. So say you are white belt in most things and your goal is to go into CrossFit and start snatching, but you can't lift your arms overhead without triggering some bursitis or having shoulder pain. So this is where this is important. And it's like, okay, well, I do want to get that and I will be able to get that. But for now, in order to build that strong and solid foundation, I need to focus on fixing my weak links first. And we all have them. Like, this is not a bad thing, and nothing to be ashamed of. We all have our weak links. It's the power lies in us recognizing them and then being able to fix them and then move on. Trust me, I couldn't raise my shoulders above my head. I couldn't do a bridge. I couldn't do a nose to wall handstand. I could only just touch my toes. So I promise you, I've been there. Yeah, a lot of those things I couldn't do. So as you can see, as we move up in the belt levels, they obviously get more advanced. But that is just a really good way of looking at it so that you can sort of scale back, strip the ego. That's one thing. If you want to achieve something, you can't have any ego associated with it. You need to understand where you are now, and you need to start where you are now and not where you want to be. So we need to really understand that, like, okay, if I want to achieve X, but I don't have Y in order first, and that's a foundation, then I need to focus on Y in order to achieve X. And it can be, like I said, it's a hard lesson to learn. So I'm going to end it there, trying to keep them nice and short for you guys. Please download it. Like I said, I am going to add in a few little bits and pieces. Once I've done that and updated it, I'll let you know. And yeah, we'll go from there. I hope you found that helpful, and I hope I explained it enough, if you didn't have the visual aid at the time, that you get a general understanding. It's the kind of thing that you kind of need to look at and have a read through anyway. So thanks, guys, again, and I'll speak to you soon. I look forward to seeing some videos this week.